What pisses me off is people's lying and manipulations. I'm so tired of people lying about other people. It makes me want to break their noses and literally just take a bat to their legs. I would never do such a thing, but oh boy, do I want to. I'll give you an example. It's raining really heavy. So I had to close my windows when I'm going to get very sick because the mold builds up indoors when we close the windows. But there's one window I can't get to because we're boarded up. Why are we boarded up like that? Because there's three infestations in those rooms. But on top of that, and they'll spread to this room, both bedrooms are covered in three different types of bugs and mold. Those are by far some of the worst windows in the house, too. I can't even close that window fully. The top part continues to slide down. So that window never closes. The latch won't lock. It's so warped, so molded out that you can't get it to stay closed. The top part will always slide down. That's why you have to use the storm window. So the storm windows are closed on that one, but the front windows will never actually lock into place. You just get them, you put a stick, they slide. And because it's the top part that slides, you can't put a stick on the top part. The bottom part you can, open and put a stick there for your air and then take the stick out and close it. But the top part keeps on sliding down. And if you try to put a stick to keep the top part up, then the bottom part won't go down properly. And the latch don't line up. The window is warped. There's no way to fix that one from the tenant's point of view. The landlord could be fixing that to prevent a lot. Plus, there's water that comes in that one into the siding. You got the bathroom. Oh yeah, I get waterfalls randomly when it rains heavy, like I'm gonna try to catch it on camera today again. But you've already seen it on camera before. On top of that, you've seen the gaping hole in the other window, where when it rains like this, we get small amounts of water in the wall siding. The mold's building up everywhere. Everywhere. There's no way to stop the moisture from coming in. Not with all these holes, cracks, and these windows rotted to this point. The window sills, the framing, all the wood is warped. The windows won't close properly. They slide by themselves. You can feel breezes when they're closed. There's gaping holes. There's mold all over them. Mushrooms coming in through floors when we moved in. But this is what pisses me off. The landlord will probably come up with a fucking story and lie. There's so many of these fucking liars out there. I'll give you an example. He'll say that we like keeping that window in the bedroom open when that's not true. We can't do nothing with that window thanks to him, and he knows this because this was like this when we moved in. The gaping hole over there. Now, when we moved in, this gaping hole was just humongous, gallons of water coming in. And I spent 2, 3 years calling this landlord, asking him to fill in this hole. Eventually, he said I should just fix it. And I said, well, how the fuck am I supposed to fix your windowsill? What, are you going to let me chop your apartment down? He goes, no, just stick some foam in it. So I did. I stuck some foam in it, but that didn't fucking do anything. I bet the landlord tries to say that we made the hole in the windowsill that's rotted out from like 10 years of mold eating it. It's very clear this is mold rot. And I bet he's going to say somehow we got the mold in it. Number two, the cabinets are filled with mold. He'll probably say that's something to do with us again. But the one that pisses me off the most is when he tries to say that we have anything to do with holes or windows. Because when we moved in, there was mushrooms in the bathroom. There's mold in the window. There's mold on the whole outside of the building. This is everything when I came here. Now, my roommate came here 3 months before I did. And when I came in, I got to inspect the building outside in. I walked the property line as soon as I signed that lease. I made sure to walk the property line. I made sure to do a little inspection of the building. And seeing as I'm drinking groundwater, I wanted to see what the grounds were like. And there's a legally dumped septic tank in the back. So that we literally have a septic tank leaking that we're on top of right now, and then we have a septic tank rusting apart that's like 15 years old in the middle of the woods with illegal log path leading kind of to it, then going around this little dirt road that used to be a dirt lot because there was a house, they were going to build houses there, and they did. The houses are up and they're already sold now. So anyways, that pisses me off, but I guarantee you the landlord is outside driving around the building because there's one window where it looks like the inside, the top part, you can't close it. There's nothing you can do. You can try to jam a lot of sticks in, but there's nothing you can do. The latch is broken, nothing. And the landlord's known this for 6 years, but yet he refuses to fix it. And now we can't even get in that bedroom. We can't even get to our own windows, and even if we could, we can't get them to stay closed. On top of that, I mean, like all parts to stay closed. On top of that, the ones that we can keep closed has gaping holes, so we actually can't stop the water from coming in. This whole place is a complete hazard. And the landlord, I guarantee you, is running around the building coming up with stories. How many more stories can I come up with? How many more stories can I come up with? How many more lies can I spin in court so that way I can get more people sick? I'm so tired of seeing this from my father, the landlord, my mother, different people of authority, police officers. I watched a police officer say the biggest lie right through his teeth. He said, well, we did not know that Zachary was wearing a uniform and worked there. That is the biggest bullshit. My uniform says Cumberland right on it. It has a fucking giant slushy monster on the shirt. You cannot miss the giant slushy that says Cumbies on it. You can't say the logo. I'm wearing an E&G or whatever company name it was hat. I got all the pants but matching. And they don't think that they knew I worked there? Of course they did. Of course they did. They just didn't want to listen to the kid who just said he had a seizure. They wanted to listen to the psychotic woman who's in trouble for picking on one of their female co-workers, and then I had a seizure, so she knows she's getting reported in the morning, so she's playing a game. And she's a fucking liar. Oh, yes. Oh, boy. I mean, 4 people who were witnesses that day called her a liar, and a fucking camera called her a liar. The judge even called this woman a liar, and they were very nice to me. So, what the fuck is up with all these people? They're spoiled. They're in their 60s. They didn't really work real hard for their money. They think they did. They had it easy back in the 50s and 60s. They went to their job, they worked lots of hours, and they got paid for their job. And they think that means that everybody else is lazy. Even though today, if my father tried to redo his situation that got him where he did today, if he tried to redo it today, he would fail horribly. If he was started off at age 5 getting drugged and beaten, and we gave my father Thorazine at age like 8, 9, and then we moved him around quite a bit, and then we brought technology in the mix, and oh my god, my father would fail miserably. Absolutely. He would not be able to function on all those pills. I've never seen my father do well on drugs. I don't think that if I drugged up my father on Thorazine, Seroquel, Lamictal, the meds that I was drugged up on, I don't think he would succeed in today's world. No way. In today's world, they take orphans, they give them a lot of drugs, they don't give them an education like they used to. I mean, public schools, like my father, he went to a public school, he went to classes, things like that. He stayed kind of in the same area for most of his childhood. That's the way things were. Nobody cares about their children, these orphans. A lot of the whole world is very, very different. And this is what a lot of these people, like the landlord, he's a baby boomer. He got everything handed to him. Everything was easy. He has all these properties. He didn't work at McDonald's saving money to buy each property. No. He started out with the money, bought more properties, and he slummed. He was able to slum. He didn't fix his apartments, so he had more money in his bank account. So he kept on not fixing more apartments, so he would have more money in his bank account. Then he bought a beach house. Then he kept on buying, and buying. Kept on not keeping up with his apartments, so he could have more money. And so now he is spoiled. Now he lives on the beach. He has like 3 houses, a bunch of cars. He has a company out of Maine. He has a bunch of houses he sells. He's a big shot now because he wasn't maintaining his property and he was pocketing the money he was supposed to be using to maintain his properties. So he lives like a big shot, but really that's because he's not doing what he's supposed to at his job. And we got a lot of other baby boomers that think this. They think just because they worked or just because they have a company, that means that they did something special. Meanwhile, they're not even doing their job. If you're a landlord, your job is to maintain your properties and rent them. But if your tenants are dying or getting sick or having water come in or getting poisoned, or if there's rats running around, or if there's bed bugs and your tenants are paying you and you're just keeping the money and the bugs are still there, if shit's going on like that, then you're not doing your job, you're pocketing the money, and that doesn't make you special. That doesn't make you better. Well, that makes you an asshole who's gonna burn. And don't forget, people don't like assholes. Sometimes when you get people sick and fuck with their health, they just come straight for you. They don't go to court. They don't fuck around. They just come to your door with a hatchet, like the lady who came to my neighbor's door with a hatchet. They don't do courts. These poor people, they don't have enough money for attorneys, so they come to your door with a hatchet. That's how poor people deal with it. When you're homeless and you hear somebody beating their wife, they don't fucking call the police. They throw your ass off of a fucking cliff and you fall on a bunch of rocks and the water comes in and drowns you and nobody gives a fuck. If you steal drugs out of a tent and you're known to be a thief, you get a board to the face. This is just justice in the poor areas. That's what it is. Somebody waits for you with a ski mask and a baseball bat and breaks your legs and arms. Or somebody comes to your house with a gun, or they tie you up like they did that politician, or there's so much crazy shit going on, but that's because people want their rights. They don't want to be mistreated and then not have any rights. And in today's society, you got a lot of people being abused terribly, terribly taken advantage of. And there's laws to protect them, but yet, because they've been so taken advantage of, they can't even have their rights. They don't have enough money for an attorney, they can't drive, they can't walk anymore, they can't get a wheelchair to get there. There's just so many hurdles that are impossible when somebody is taking advantage of you so bad that you're in a wheelchair, you don't have a vehicle, you don't have a home, no job, somebody just wiped you out. So this is what it is. You got these baby boomers who feel entitled, and they live in these big situations. Like they got 3 houses, one in Agunquit, one in Maine, in another place in Maine, and then one in Florida. So they have 3 houses, just like my father. He also hurt me, seems very entitled, doesn't think about how his choices affected his own son. I mean, a lot of his choices were very clearly stupid. Like, for instance, putting his son in some weird cabin that's not finished up in the mountains in New Mexico, where you're only allowed to see your son 1 hour a day. I mean, when you drove up, you saw a giant dirt field of rattlesnakes and giant anthills. Also, the buildings were never built. They had to wait for the other buildings. So there was one nice building that was the office for the staff. We weren't allowed in that one. Then there was an old falling apart small little cabin. That's where I got to stay. And then that's it. That's all. And my parents only got to see me 1 hour a month. And there was no teachers. There was teachers for the first 3 months I was there, and then she quit. Most of the kids never even got to know that we used to have a teacher, because I was there for 18 months. Only the first 3 months was there a teacher. She quit. We all loved it. All the children were like, yes, yes, the teacher quit. We get to play all the time. Yes. I mean, when you're 7 years old, or I should say 8, 9 years old, something like that, that's how you feel about it. That's how every kid feels about it when there's a snow day. Same thing. The teacher called out sick. Yes, yes, yes. Until you realize, wait a minute, this is going way too long. Oh my God. I had no education for 18 months. Then I had no education in Maine while my mother homeschooled me. Then I had no education during that whole redo of first year. I had no education also when we came from Ogunquit. So we went from Texas to New Mexico, New Mexico to Maine, and then we went from Maine to Chelmsford, Mass. And as soon as we got to Chelmsford, Mass, one of the first schools I went to, I only played Yu-Gi-Oh. That's it. First there was like a public school in there or something, but I got thrown out of that one, and then I got transferred to this other one where I took a small bus really far away, and there was a small little brick building, and this was way before. This was like maybe elementary school or the first grade of middle school or something. Oh boy, was I really young. This was before the middle school met. This was even before I met all those people. And I only stayed at this place for 1 year, less than a year, or about a year, yeah. Winter to fall, something like that, or fall to winter, or about a year, 9 months to a year, something like that. It was probably the year plus summer vacation or something. So yeah, a whole year at this school, all I did was play with my Yu-Gi-Oh cards. That's it. So did every other kid though. Every kid in my class got to play for a year. So there was lawsuits. People did find out. My parents found out and they didn't care. They just called the teacher and ate their bullshit. That's it. Then let me continue not getting an education. But other parents, they sued. They believed their kids. They actually got involved in their kids' lives. See, when I came to my parents and told them there was no classes being done, they got a little concerned, called the school. The school said, no, 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 there's classes. Your son's just making it up. Then, the next day, I got punished by the school and brought up in front of class. And they asked, why do we all have to sit in our chairs? Because Zach told his parents what was going on. So now you guys have to sit in your freaking chairs all day while Zach stands up in the class. Now, luckily, she left the classroom for the day again, so I was able to sit back down after like a couple hours or whatever. But yes, I got punished for it. And all the kids hated me for telling my mother and father. But you think my mother and father did anything about it? No. No, they did absolutely nothing. They made everything worse like always. I told them what's going on and they make things worse, and then they just call me a liar and a thief and tell me I have mental illnesses to cover up their crimes. Fucked up shit. This is baby boomers for you. This is what I see everywhere. All these people that think just because they had it easy when they were growing up, that oh, everybody else who's getting tortured, hurt, they're working 50 hours and still they don't even have their rent money. 50 hours. I know people that have worked 50 hours and they're not even halfway to their rent yet. Fucked up shit. How could that be possible? How could your rent be 2 grand? You worked 50 hours and you only have $1,600. How can that be? Oh, that's just the rent, buddy. I still got electric, I got the water. You're kidding me. Oh yeah. My total cost is 3,000 and you only made $1,600 for 50 hours of work. Well, I got a bunch of raises, so now I make $1,800 for 48 hours. That's still not your rent. What the fuck? Well, see, these baby boomers, they think that that's how it was for them back when they were growing up. They think that their rent and their paycheck was the same. They think that they had to walk uphill both ways like I am. They think that they walked and had seizures on the side of the road all bloody. They think that they froze to death on the Riverwalk because they couldn't go anywhere. They think that when they went to a coffee shop, they only got 15 minutes after buying a cup of coffee to drink it. No, that's today. That's my generation that has to go through it. If I go to Dunkin' Donuts and give them $15, I only get 15 to 30 minutes to drink it, and they call the police on me if I don't look all nice with suits, ties. If I literally look like I'm homeless at all with a backpack, it's the backpack. If you have a backpack, you only get 15 to 30 minutes at Dunkin' Donuts to drink your coffee before you're thrown out, no matter how much money you give them. That's fucked up, isn't it? But this is my generation. Something the baby boomers do not understand. Something that these people born in the 40s, 50s, 60s don't seem to get. That in 1975, some big changes were made in this country to make sure the people at the top would get more money and the people at the bottom would have to work harder and not be able to get what they need. Like, for instance, people who are disabled at the bottom do not get Social Security. They struggle to get it. They have to wait sometimes 12 years before they get it. Meanwhile, people at the top who aren't even disabled collect Social Security. I've seen plenty of children, or rich parents' children, that are now adults who are on Social Security only because they have anxiety and they hired an attorney. That's it. Anxiety and an attorney. A good attorney that costs quite a bit of money. So if you have a lot of money, you throw 10 grand around and your son gets a paycheck for life. Oh, great. But you know what? There's a little problem. I'm honest, and I'm not willing to go along with my mother's fantasies and lies. So I'm willing to go for Social Security, but I'm at the bottom. I'm a poor person, and I can't afford an attorney. And my case got fucked up because my mother and father already sucked my Social Security dry. They sucked on that teat already.